Should upper elementary students have homework? That is the question I am tackling today. Welcome to episode 27 of the Upper Elementary Simplified podcast. I'm your host, Danna, and today I am going to be sharing my thoughts about homework. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Upper Elementary Simplified, the podcast where busy and overwhelmed teachers find thoughtful ideas to get students engaged in meaningful learning experiences. Hi, I'm Danna Rodebush, former fifth grade classroom teacher and founder of Teacher Tech Studio. I'm here to share practical tips and strategies that will help you grow as an educator. If you are a tired upper elementary teacher searching for ways to cut down your planning time while boosting student engagement, you are in the right spot. Are you ready? Let's simplify. Do you have homework? Is your homework finished yet? Hurry up and get your homework done so we can go to baseball practice. Why didn't you finish your homework after school? These are just a few questions that are asked on a daily basis from busy parents and guardians. On the other hand, some other families are saying, is this all your teacher assigned you for homework? I'm going to go talk to your teacher about getting some extra work sent home. Different families and teachers have different views about whether students should be assigned homework or not. As with most topics, there are two sides, and I am here to share mine with you today. It is my opinion that students should not be assigned homework in the upper elementary grades. And my reasoning is pretty simple. They are kids, they go to school all day, and when they get home, they should be spending that time with their family, going to extracurricular activities, playing outside with their siblings, not sitting at the kitchen table doing more schoolwork. In the past, I have been the teacher who assigned nightly math homework, and looking back on that, it was not one of my better decisions as a teacher. But I was following the example of other teachers and not really thinking through the reasoning for the homework in the first place. So, today I'm going to discuss with you 5 points around the topic of homework. And keep in mind that I am basing this on my own opinion and I am speaking only for upper elementary age students and younger. Middle school and high school teachers can have their own discussions about this topic. The first point that I want to discuss is, what did I notice with my nightly math homework? Well, first of all, my nightly math homework was printed on one page for the entire week, and there were just a few questions for each night, Monday through Thursday. Students would get the paper on Mondays, and we would go over the answers daily at the beginning of the class. So, for example, Monday I would pass out the homework. Students would work on however much of it they wanted to that night. So, some of them would finish the entire week's worth on Monday, and that was fine with me. I told them that is what I would do if I was them. Anyway, they would come back to class on Tuesday and I would walk around and check for completion and give them like 2 or 3 points on their paper. And then we would go over the answers and they would check them and give themselves another 1 or 2 points based on if they got the answers correct or not. Now, looking back, how beneficial was this? It wasn't, except for the fact that I was getting them prepared to have nightly homework for future classes. There was not much benefit to my homework system. How did I know that parents weren't helping a little too much or older siblings? How did I know students weren't using the calculator on the entire assignment and then making it look like they worked it out themselves? How did I know that a group of 4 students didn't get together and each take a night and then share answers? The answer is simple. I didn't, and I couldn't have known unless they told me directly. So, not only was the actual assignment not benefiting my students, I was also getting grades from this homework. Each week, my homework was worth about 15 points if I'm remembering correctly. That adds up quickly in the grade book. And what are those grades really telling me, or the students, or their parents, or my administration about how the student is doing in my math class? Well, it says that they are either completing or not completing a few questions on time and turning it in by the end of the week. Also, what does it do for students who are already struggling to love math to have to go home and do more of it after school? The second point I want to talk about is nightly reading. Some teachers will require a certain amount of minutes of nightly reading. While this may sound good in theory, there are some things wrong with this system, just like my math homework. First of all, you don't know that the student is actually reading or if they are making up their answers on the response sheet you send home each week. Secondly, by requiring students to read in their free time, are we really encouraging a love for reading? Are we supporting the idea that our students should be reading for enjoyment? I am all for kids reading every night, but I don't think that they should feel like it is an assignment to read for a certain amount of minutes each night. The third point that I want to discuss is unfinished work. Now, while I don't believe in assigned homework, I do think that it is appropriate for students who came to school, goofed off all day, or were lazy and didn't get their work completed during the school day to have to take that work home and finish it there to some extent. If it is a case of the students working slowly but not finishing, not because they weren't trying, then I think that could be an exception to the unfinished work is homework procedure. There may need to be modifications made to this student's workload. But if a student is deliberately choosing not to work at school, then there needs to be a conversation with that student and his or her parent about the issue. Is the student getting distracted too easily? Is the student actually choosing not to get the work done? Will it even matter if this student takes the work home or not? All of these aspects need to be taken into consideration when deciding if unfinished schoolwork becomes homework. The fourth point I want to talk about is extended projects. This is going to be like some type of creative project that either all or part needs to be completed at home rather than at school. Students need supplies from home, or there is a family involvement aspect to the project. There is some type of technology involved that students don't have access to at school. Many reasons that extended projects can be made an exception to my beliefs around homework. Plus, most extended projects are usually pretty fun and engaging, and students don't mind working on them outside of class. And bonus points if it is a group project with your best friends and they get to come over to your house to work on the project after school. The fifth and final point I want to address about homework in the upper elementary grades is parents who want extra practice for their child. I have had a few parents in my years in the classroom who have requested that I send home extra work for their child. Maybe they feel like their student needs this extra practice, or maybe they want to be more involved in their child's education and they want to see what the student is working on, or maybe the student wants the extra practice. Yes, it is rare, but I have seen it happen. To be able to accommodate these requests for extra practice, it's a good idea to have some practice pages set aside to quickly copy for the families who need or want them, or have a good list of maybe some places online that you can recommend to families for extra practice. So, like I said at the beginning of this episode, these are only my opinions, and I wanted to share my thoughts so that you can form your own opinions around this topic. I think the most important thing to take away from this is to do what you feel is best for your students in the moment. Next week's episode is going to be a little bit different than previous episodes because I'm going to be talking about an idea that has been on my heart for a while. And I really want to share it with you and hopefully get some feedback from you about it. So please make sure and tune in for that episode next Tuesday. Have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Upper Elementary Simplified. I hope you are able to take away something useful that will help you grow as a teacher. I do have a quick favor to ask before you go. If you are enjoying the podcast, please let me know by leaving me a review. It really does make a difference because reviews impact search results, which helps me to expand my reach to other educators. Plus, I love to read my listeners' comments. Until next time, keep life simple.